Words cannot describe the weekend I have had. Some of you that have been in my sort of personal friendship bubbles and so forth will already know the news. Then, for the rest of you, I may as well just come out and say it. Last weekend, my sister passed away. She was the most amazing sister ever. So funny, sarcastic in a good way, quirky, so fun, loving, loved dogs, loved Pokemon, was very into all different forms of fandoms and so forth. And she was the same age as me, in her early 30s. It was just devastating.
This is the way you left me, I'm not pretending. No hope, no love, no glory, no happy ending. This is the way that we love, like it's forever. Then live the rest of our life, but not together.
Yeah, I think that's enough reading and videos for other things. Let's now get to the main part of the video. So, hey, howdy, hey, awesome people of the internet and family and friends who may be watching this. Wolfman47 Dasher, and yes, I am the brother of the late but awesome Elspeth Claire Jones. So, for those of you that have been subscribed to my channel for a while, will already know that I've done 2 videos previously, sort of honouring her. The first one, obviously, just announcing the news, and the second one, just reflecting on things 1 year later, and combining it with my Hollow Life video. And I thought for the 2nd year anniversary, I would not combine it with a Hollow Life video, because that just doesn't feel right to me, considering how I've changed the schedule a bit as well. So yeah, it's just going to be a reflection of the year, share some stories, and then maybe just throw in some clips that kind of remind me of certain situations that I've kind of been relatable to me and whatever. So yeah, anyway, so first of all, for those of you that are not in the know, my sister passed away a couple of years ago. There was a few things that kind of led to it. The main thing, but most of it was concerning the brain, because she was one of a few handful of people that had the very rare thing of a brain tumour, which she first had in 2008, and as kind of going back and forth to hospital and so forth as and when it happened. There was like a big gap between 2008 and 2020 where nothing really happened, or maybe some things happened but they weren't as major, and then she went back in 2020 during lockdown, and then it was decided from that point that she would then stay with my folks for the remainder of the lockdown, and I think that was the right call to make. So yeah, when it first happened in 2008, I will admit I did feel kind of lonely, because my parents were focused solely on her, and they did acknowledge that I was feeling very lonely, and they made efforts to ensure that friends and family friends would actually do stuff with me to sort of keep my mind off it. And I did indeed do stuff, like I went to see the, at the time, new Indiana Jones film, Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, which was one of the most bizarre Indiana Jones films I've ever seen. I'm not a huge fan of the franchise, but we'll talk about that another time. And yeah, and I was at college at the time, so I did have friends there to go to if I needed to. So yeah, yeah, her whole death was basically a combination of things, but it was mostly concerning the brain, where it just started not to function anymore. And even though my dad was among the team that was able to revive her, ultimately it wasn't survivable, and he knew that after trying to revive her. And my mum kind of, I think, if I am correct, I may be wrong about this, I think she was sort of hoping that she would pull through, and I was hoping she would pull through as well, but no, in the end it was definitely not survivable, what she had. And we spent that long weekend, which was a particularly long weekend, sort of tying up all loose ends with her, saying our goodbyes and everything, and and also sort of settling things with work and everything. Like, we kind of made a pact not long after she died, or I should say officially died, because she officially died on 26th, but unofficially we think she died on the 23rd or 4th, 1 or 2. And the pact was that that any opportunity we would have, we would make sure that we'd get that opportunity to have her story be told, have people hear her story, watch all the things that she went through in life and all the challenges, everything, etc. And her legacy lives on, because just earlier this year she was posthumously awarded the Lifetime Achievement at the Autism Hero Awards, which I know was organised by a separate organisation that I think the place I work at, or one of the places I work at, have had connections to previously, but this time it was actually a big one, because we got 2 awards. One was for one of their young volunteers, I believe, and the other was for my sister, for work in helping ensure that autistic people's voices across the part of the UK that we live in were heard. Which is now a role that I'm very lucky to have been able to take over from her, as a way to honour her, and also to just ensure that her legacy continues, while also doing my own spin to how to do it as well. And which is basically me just sort of summarising the year this year. And that was like one of the big wins we had this year. The other win was my PIP tribunal, which was my second ever tribunal, and we did mention some things about my sister in that as well. And I won that, and it was a good tribunal as well. It's a very constructive one. We talked about more than just my driving, unlike the previous one where it was just strictly questions about my driving. We talked about a lot of things in great detail in this tribunal, and the lady that was the judge was sympathetic to people with autism, so we knew it was gonna be in my favour, that the win would be mine, as it were. Afterwards she made sure to sort of offer her sympathies to us, and said that there is some help out there that we can go to, which hopefully me and my parents will seek out when it gets close to the time when it's my parents' time to go, because originally the plan was always going to be me and my sister would just navigate life in our sort of later years when our parents have long gone, to navigate life and so forth. But obviously she's not going to be around for that anymore. So, but I'm okay with that, because I've got my relationship with my family is great. I've got a good network of friends who are very supportive, and have really upped their game since she passed away, sort of like offering any opportunity for me to go and see them when I'm feeling lonely and just wanting some time with people. By the time you've seen this video, I've hopefully gone on a date with a girl that I'm interested in. I wouldn't say fancy just yet. At the time of doing this, which is like the 10th of November, we've yet to have that meet up. So I'm hoping things do work out between us, and I hope it does work out and everything. So that'd be good. So yeah, this year I think overall has been an okay year. I've definitely had a lot of wins this year. I've also had a lot of losses this year as well, in terms of just sort of understanding my body a bit more. Like I've learnt lately that I need to stop having takeaway so much, and I've been going on this healthy eating program that's helped me do that, and I'm hoping that this program does help me, because the program that my sister was on, that to help her lose weight, they just did not help her at all, and they failed her basically. So I'm hoping that doesn't happen to me. So yeah. Out of the two of us, she was the most academic, because she went to mainstream schools. She went to university as well. I didn't go to university, but I did go to a vocational college, and she had a degree and everything, and although she never had the opportunity to sort of put that degree to use, she did use her own experiences of being an autistic person to just help others understand autism and so forth better. Like, I know one of my line managers really helped her understand autism better, which I thought was a great thing to do, which is great. And when we were growing up, we went through a phase of trying to destroy one another, because that's what siblings do. We destroyed each other. But she went to uni and I moved out, and having time apart from one another did us a load of good, and we got on much better. We started working together at the same charity and the same team, she was helping people who have autism, or autistic people, whatever term you like to use, and I was helping people with both autism and a learning disability who were living and using services in the area of the county that I cover, that our team covers. It sort of hurts that she's not around anymore, but I take any opportunity to sort of point out that that's the colour purple, because her favourite colour is purple. Point out anytime I see a dog, because her favourite ever animal is a dog, and a dog has really helped her and me as well with our social interactions and so forth. Which so I just thought I'd drop something there. Which really helped us with our social anxiety. Just having a dog, being able to talk to people and so forth with that, which is great. It's a shame that the current dog, Smarty, is not really a sociable dog with humans, but he is a sociable dog with animals. Sorry, not animals, dogs, because he doesn't like small animals. And our old dog, Max, he would be sociable with humans, but not so much with dogs. So yeah, it's kind of ironic. And the pair of them were also kind of disabled, had a disability, whatever, because Max, when we got him, he had a lot of brain damage, and eventually it got to a point where we had to remove one of his eyes because it was getting really bad, and he started getting a lump in there and everything. But the 5 years we had Max, we loved him. He knew he had a loving family, and he was an awesome dog. And Smarty, he's bonkers, has 3 legs, but doesn't stop him. He just bonkers. He runs, he chases things. He's all sorts. But he's a lovable dog as well. It's a shame he doesn't get on with strange people. But that's fine, because some dogs' experiences are different to others, and that's kind of the price you pay for having a rescue dog, because you don't know what they've been through. But it's always good to make sure you make time to train them and help them understand that everything is okay, everything is fine. It's not as bad of a world as people might think it is. Going out of that, I know my sister would have had a lot to say about the current political climate at the moment, because because I don't really talk about government much on this channel, because it's not really a government kind of channel, but let's just say we hate how the US has been going at the moment. We hate how Russia's going at the moment, and even though we live in the country, we hate how our UK government is going at the moment, because while some things are better, while some things they do are better for some than others, for me personally, if they just aren't doing anything for people with disabilities like myself or her and other stuff, then I'm just not gonna like them. It's just the way it is. They know, most of the time they would know full well that they can't please everybody, and we just have to put up with the fact that sometimes we just can't have it our way. Like, I could vote for someone that promises to do a lot of good but ends up not doing a lot of good at all, and it's just the way it is, I guess. So yeah. So going back to my sister, I'm going to share some more stories. So there's been, when the Pokemon franchise was not had access to internet or whatever, we would often go to these different events all over the country that were giving away free Pokemon in specific games on the Game Boy. And one place we went to, and I remember this quite fondly, it was 5 of us, so me, Mum, Dad, Elspeth, and our late granny. Which to some of you might think, oh, you call that your nan, but I call her granny because because she's a Scottish lady, and Mum has always said that granny suits her better, so that's what we've always called her. So Mum and Elspeth went to get Pokemon. Me, Dad, and Granny went to the nearby Tesco. Every little helps to get her a black coffee. She had a choice of options. It was either medium, mild, or dark. She kept the same black, and then eventually she got dark. And then later on that day, we went to a cafe that, for religious reasons, was not serving meat. And the whole time, Granny was just saying she doesn't want any butter, no mayo. And then she said she wanted ham, which obviously the cafe couldn't do. And then, just as things were getting more stressful, my aunt from down under, who's my mum's mum, my mum's big sister, called just randomly, and it's like, no, not the time. It's a funny story, that. There's also been a few times where we've been on holiday. My sister's not really been keen about certain things, like, for example, the one thing she'll always demand to know about, and anywhere we go, is if there's Wi-Fi. Like doesn't matter what the location is, doesn't matter if there's toilets, doesn't matter if we have beds or anything. No. Wi-Fi is the only thing that matters to her. Which, fine. So always good to be connected to Wi-Fi, because you might need that one day for emergencies, etc. And obviously the Wi-Fi we do need. And obviously with the lockdown that we went through, obviously Wi-Fi was needed during that time, because how else would we have worked during that time, and meetings and etc. But if you don't have Wi-Fi, I mean, what's the worst that's going to happen? Like, okay, you might miss some big news about somebody. Oh, okay, you might miss a big game of whatever. Who cares? It's just Wi-Fi at the end of the day. Yeah, okay, it might be a big deal to some, but to me, it's not really a big deal, because the point of going on holiday is to get away from what's going on back home. So yeah, and also the one time I think where we were on holiday and we didn't have Wi-Fi in our apartment, flat, whatever it was, it was fine. We had access to Wi-Fi in other places, but that was okay in the end. And then there was another time where we were in Loch Lomond and it was very hot, which is very unusual for Scotland to be hot. We were there. There was no Wi-Fi there either, and because the person who was running it was one of those people that was like, "Oh, we don't need Wi-Fi here because it's just a nice escape." And we were like, "Yeah, we kind of do need Wi-Fi." But the joy of being with EE at the time was that the signal was very good there, so I was able to use data to do that. And this was our point in my life where I didn't have a lot of money, so I was just cautiously using data where I can, which is what I was doing. So yeah, that's kind of like all the stories I can think of when it comes to lack of internet or whatever. So yeah. There was a time where we went to Australia, and we've been to Australia quite a few times because not only do we have family there, but we also have a lot of friends there as well that are kind of like family friends. We up until one of the more recent times, it was usually all four of us would go together in the same flight, be in the same part of the plane. We'd get off in Dubai or Singapore for pit stop. And then go off on the flight again, usually in the sort of same area. But then there was this one time where Dad was working and he couldn't get much time off, so he had to stay behind and to join us a little later on. But me, Mum, my sister went on a flight, and because my sister is a very anxious person when it comes to flying, she had to take some drugs to, and by which I mean drugs that she was prescribed, not like illegal drugs or anything, to just be able to get on the flight and be relaxed and comfortable and everything. She was relaxed and comfortable, but she was also very hyper as well, which for Mum wasn't great because Mum was very much asleep at the time. I struggled to get to sleep because I'm usually very used to sort of sleeping on a bed or lying down on the floor or whatever, just to sleep. But I've never really at that time thought about sleeping, sitting up. But you know, it is what it is. Yeah, she was very hyperactive and everything, going, "Mum, there's stuff over there that you can have," and everything. I mean, this was like her first time on an A380 as well. So yeah, it was quite something to behold. When we were working together, she and I would usually do this double act where we would share our experiences of using different services, sort of talk about our personalities, what we like, what we don't like, so forth. Which people really, really enjoyed doing, and it was kind of like this sort of precursor to what would eventually become the Oliver McGowan training, which is something that the NHS and the government are sort of pushing for up and down the country, just training NHS staff and social workers to sort of understand people with disabilities better, specifically those with autism and those with a learning disability and those that happen to have both. And when I signed up to become a trainer, one of my reasons for signing up to do the training was because of my sister, because as I said, much of her adult life she spent using various different NHS services, whether that was because she was in hospital, whether that was because she was doing this healthy thing that let her down, and all this other stuff. It was something that I really wanted to do in her memory, and also sharing my own experience of using the hospital as well, because one of my biggest regrets in life is once saying that I'm kind of missing out on the whole being in the hospital for a big appointment thing, because my dad went into hospital when I was younger because of a cycle accident, which was resolved, and he eventually did start cycling to work again after building up the confidence to do it again. Mum went into hospital because she had a minor heart attack, and obviously, as I said, my sister went into hospital because she had problems with her brain, and so by the time it reached 2015, it was finally my turn to go into hospital for something I had. But I'll admit my biggest regret is actually sort of saying, "Oh, I feel left out for not being in hospital," which I know is something I should never ever say, and I've learnt my lesson. I am never gonna wish for that ever again. So yeah. And it was funny because immediately after I was discharged, I went to a husting, which is one of these things where your local MPs are sort of coming together to talk about all sorts of different topics, and you ask them questions. and I was there in a personal capacity, and my sister was there, my mum was there as well, my line manager was there as well, and my line manager was very insistent that I ask questions so forth, but I'm like, I've just come out of hospital, give me a break, man, Jesus. so yeah. So it's there's tons of stories I could say. Those are just some of the various stories I can come up with. We've always got on well after the phase of just trying to destroy each other. We complement each other well. We're very humorous, very sarcastic. She would, as the video says, she was always the Empress of Sarcasm. She was so fun, so awesome. Cracks jokes and puts a smile on people's faces, and even when it's a very quiet time, she'll always usually be the one that ends up starting the conversation, because out of the two of us, she was the more chatty one of the two. Whether that's because of nerves that she just chatted so much, I honestly don't know. And she was one of the last people I knew that would use the term Asperger's to describe her autistic condition, because Asperger's, for those who don't know, it has connections to Nazis, because there was a guy, I forget the name, whose surname was Asperger's, and he was experimenting on autistic people, and because of that, it's now a term that we tend not to use these days, and it's for that reason that a lot of people who have that now refer to themselves as Aspies rather than that, just so they can sort of get away from the whole Nazi connections that has, as well as all the other negative stuff it has as well. And this is something I actually learned when doing Oliver McGowan training, that it's one of those. Another thing I can say about my sister, she and I were introduced to pop music when we were in our teenage years, and I think one of our Australian friends / cousins introduced that to us. And although I wasn't all that keen on pop music, I did sort of give it a go, and I did enjoy some music during our teenage years. But it was usually my sister who would just scroll through the channels all the time, just listening to music and music videos and everything, and then we discovered classical music, and then we just stuck to that from then on, as well as film scores and everything. So yeah, and anytime, it was always such fun watching a film with her, because she would usually offer some funny commentary and laugh at the right times, and even when we weren't watching films, we were watching something funny on TV, she would always do this clap at certain points when the joke actually works, and she actually sort of claps them for sort of pointing out something that she really believes in and so forth, which is a good thing, I'd say. Growing up, she was not a typical girly girl, as some might call someone, because she wasn't really into girl stuff. She was a tomboy, because until the Pokemon franchise acknowledged that there were a lot of female fans, she was very much into the Pokemon franchise, specifically the games and the anime that was being played. Although later in life she would question the logic behind why Ash Ketchum was still 10 years old after having several birthdays and all that stuff. Lots of animated shows just have that thing where the characters don't age, and yet they do have their birthdays but still continue to have birthdays. Like, it's like they're not just not. It's just weird. So yeah, I guess. So she did like the Pokemon franchise. I personally wasn't that into it, but I did try to get into it when Pokemon Go became a thing, and then she tried to get me playing the games, and I wasn't really getting into it. And by the time she passed away, I decided to take all her Pokemon games. I sold a lot of them to this shop that is pronounced Sex, but I call it CX because saying it's sex can sometimes imply that people think it might be a sex shop. It's not at all. So I sold a lot of games there. Did got a good amount of money, so I think she would have been really pleased about that. And I still hold a lot of the games that they couldn't take. Many of them being Pokemon, which I am hoping to try and get into as best I can. But I know it's probably something that I probably won't be able to get into, but I will certainly try for sure. She also, just like me, she liked Wallace and Gromit. we would always watch the shorts when they made their premiere. Like when we were growing up, I think A Grand Day Out had already been and gone before we were born. The Wrong Trousers, I think, was the earliest premiere of a Wallace and Gromit short we saw, and then there was The Close Shave with the BBC Two idents of Wallace and Gromit just staring into space with the BBC Two logo, and you hear the BBC Two theme being played.
And we stay with this dazzling duo now on BBC Two in another enchanting story from Oscar-winning animator Nick Park, with more gadgets than James Bond, more menacing than Jaws. Wallace and Gromit are about to encounter a fiendish stranger.
And we also watched the film Curse of Were Rabbit at the cinema, which we really liked, and saw Metal Loaf and Death. She unfortunately missed out on the last film, Vengeance Most Foul, because at that point she was long gone. So yeah, she unfortunately missed out on that. But I think she was looking forward to it, because I think it did come out the year when it was announced Doctor Who was David Tennant's Doctor was coming back. I can't remember. Anyway, so that's that. She often listened to this YouTuber called MatPat on the internet. For those who don't know, MatPat was once the voice of Game Theory, and would offer all sorts of different theories, and would probably be that one guy who tried his best to figure out the Five Nights at Freddy's franchise. And it was thanks to him that, and also Markiplier, Jacksepticeye, and the rest of the big YouTubers, that my sister will get into the Five Nights at Freddy's franchise. Something which, as you know, I tried to do videos of. Never quite finished them, but I did my best with what I had. So I really tried that. So yeah. When Deadpool finally arrived in cinemas, and it was actually the real proper Deadpool, not the Deadpool from X-Men Origins Wolverine, despite being played by Ryan Reynolds again. Both me and my sister went to see that in Saffron Walden, of all places. We went to the Cineworld there to watch it, and we had a good time there. It was good fun. We saw the sequel when that came out. I pretty much saw two films that day. So I saw Solo: A Star Wars Story earlier on that day, which, okay, it's not the most loved Star Wars film, but I wouldn't say it's like the most terrible film. I think the big problem it had was that they should have stuck with the guy Phil Lord and Chris Miller, who obviously made the Lego movie films and the Spider-Verse films. They should have just stuck with them to make the film, because they are good at making films. They're really good at making films. But no, Ron Howard's a better choice. I don't really know about. I'm not really that keen on Ron Howard's films, because they just don't really click with me. But anyway, enough about that. So we saw Deadpool 2 in the cinemas there, and we had a good time with that as well. So yeah. Since Doctor Who was revived in 2005, we would always watch that. I think there was a point where both of us were sort of, by the time it reached Matt Smith, so we were both kind of wondering whether we should continue being fans and continue watching or something, but no, we just kept carrying on with it. And yeah, okay, I will admit there's a lot of things in Doctor Who that don't quite work, but for what we did, it's just, it is what it is. So yeah. She was also a fan of The Simpsons and Futurama, both shows that she would watch on Sky One when we had access to Sky, and it was always the most latest episode I would see. And I'm glad that Futurama has been revived on Disney Plus. Just means that show can continue, and it is really a good show. Simpsons, on the other hand, it could be worked on better. Yeah. We went through a phase of buying comics every week. Elspeth would buy the Beano, which is this, and the Dandy, which are these British comics that featuring characters created by this Scottish company called, I think, DC Thompson. I could be wrong about that. And it would have characters like Dennis the Menace, and not the Dennis the Menace that you people in the States might know. No, this is a completely different Dennis the Menace, but still still similar in a way. She did make various attempts to get me into anime, and eventually she succeeded with Full Metal Alchemist. And also tried to get me into Neon Genesis Evangelion, and I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that right. But that one I just couldn't quite understand or get, but I know why. I kind of get why she liked it. I succeeded in getting her into Super Mario thanks to the RPG games, specifically the Mario and Luigi games and Paper Mario, because she loves RPGs and that was just her bread and butter. We loved the Shrek films, not so keen on 3 and 4, though to be honest I don't think anyone's keen on 3 and 4, and 5 doesn't look any better either. She would read every Harry Potter book and was actually paid to read a Harry Potter book because she read them really, really fast. And we would always go and see them at the cinemas where we can. I think the only time where we didn't see one of the films was probably Chamber of Secrets, because we didn't really have much time to see it at the cinemas, but we did get to see it in this holiday camp thing in the Isle of Wight, which was nice. Although something that I think my sister may have picked up from one of my grandmothers is just talking through a film, like, just shush and just enjoy the bloody film. Like, because we were watching Philosopher's Stone at one point. It was getting to a part where Harry was getting towards the end. Harry was going to fight Voldemort, and my grandmother said, "Oh, is it coming to the end?" I'm like, "No, it's still got more to go. You know, patience, love, patience." I didn't actually say that, but that's what I was thinking in my head. So yeah. Both of us went to see Wreck-It Ralph at the cinema. We really enjoyed that film, especially because obviously us being gamers, it had a lot of gaming references and obviously gaming characters in there, so it was definitely a very relatable film. Unfortunately, she missed out on watching Ralph Breaks the Internet, because I saw that on our birthday in Scotland, because that was a film I was really keen on seeing. And both films I think were good, kind of on par with each other. I think the original was probably better than the second one, because the second one is more about internet stuff rather than just strictly gaming stuff, but there's still some gaming elements to it as well. So yeah. We watched Kung Fu Panda 2 at the cinema with a couple of church friends of ours, and we really enjoyed the second one, especially because it was a very emotional film, and also the fact that it's an emotional film and has Jack Black in it is kind of a major feat to behold, as a certain internet celebrity that we follow a lot would have said, by the name of Doug Walker. You may be familiar with him. One of the very first Studio Ghibli whatever it is film that we saw was Spirited Away, and this was introduced to us one New Year's Eve / Hogmanay nights, where we would host a party, and me and my sister were in a room with other small children, and we'd watch we decided to watch Spirited Away one night. We didn't quite finish it to the end, but we eventually did watch it, and we really enjoyed it. My sister enjoyed it more than me, but it was a very good anime film and got us into those films. I personally enjoyed Howl's Moving Castle and more, as well as My Neighbor Totoro and maybe some others as well, but it was good. A game that she'd often play and often would need my help on is a game called Genshin Impact. You may have heard of it. It's a free JRPG, and there would be points where she would struggle to get to places, and because this is like a 3D game and I'm used to playing a lot of 3D games, big console games, this was right up my alley, so I was able to help where I can, and I did try to get into it. I know I did a let's play of it some time ago, but yeah, it is what it is. Growing up, we watched a lot of Cartoon Network, so we watched a lot of Cow and Chicken, Johnny Bravo, Powerpuff Girls, OG Powerpuff Girls that is, Dexter's Laboratory, Coach the Cowardly Dog, all the Hanna-Barbera, Looney Tunes and Tom and Jerry stuff that we could see, and it kind of helped with our sense of humour, helped with our our understanding and idea of animation. And it just helped us a great deal. I mean, we also watched a lot of Nickelodeon, and I watched a lot of Fox Kids as well, but Cartoon Network, at least for me anyway, was like the one that I do remember most and do have the most impact from. I don't know if it's the same with my sister, but it is what it is. I'm actually going through a list of things I know she liked when I'm looking that way, just so I can say what she likes. So yeah. So obviously the Lego films, of course, was wanting to watch them. So yeah, I would always wanted to watch the Lego movies, and the one that I watched with my sister in the cinema was the Lego Batman movie, because I think both of us were kind of fans of Batman in the sense that she kind of understood the references, and I'm obviously a big Batman fan anyway because I've read the books, because I've read the comics, read the books. Seen a lot of TV shows, seen a lot of films, seen a lot of cartoons and animated shows. I've played the Arkham games as well, so so obviously seeing the Lego Batman movie was just what we wanted, and I actually saw this film twice in the cinema. The first time I saw it was with my two friends, Mr. Dan1466 and World of Me's partner at the time, and we watched it, but the pair of them were talking throughout the film, and that just ruined the experience for me. No offense to you guys, you're good pals usually, but yeah, you need to shut up when watching the film, really, because people are there to watch the film. We're not there to look at our phones. We're not there to talk through a film. We're not there to suddenly go to the toilet every so often while the film's been playing. No, we're there to watch a film in silence, and we can laugh and cry everything, but other than that, shut the fuck up. But when it came to watching it with my sister, she did chat through it as well, but she chatted very quietly in my ear, which I thought was much better because I had already seen the film, but I much preferred that over people just sort of talking out loud, because you're watching a bloody film. Anyway. And not the first time we saw a film at the cinema. We also saw the Superman movie at the cinema. We saw a couple of psychological horrors at the cinema. One of them, I think, was Friend Request. I was actually shaking the whole time because I knew there was going to be a jump scare every second, and there definitely was a jump scare every second. Lights Out was okay. Unfriended, we didn't quite understand because it was just like a big old Skype call that with horror elements, but yeah, she was very much into psychological horrors, and we watched a lot of those together. Another film we didn't watch I think we watched at the cinema, actually, thinking about it, was The Emperor's New Groove, which is a very underrated Disney film, and I remember fondly playing the demo of the video game, which Disney would describe as the action game, because at the time they would release three versions or three things for each of their big films that were coming out. So there would be an action game, there would be an activity centre game, and there would be a print studio game. Do with that as you will, and Emperor's New Groove was no exception to that. I ended up playing the demo of the game, which we got from a cereal box, because this was around the period of time where cereals were still having like prizes in the cereal, and including CD-ROMs as well. Something of which we don't have these days, but back then we did. So, you kids of the current generation who get offended by the smallest things, you missed out, unfortunately. So up yours. But anyway, Emperor's New Groove, yeah, we enjoyed that film. The video game, my sister always helped me with it. She'd go right, go left, right, at the roller coaster bits, which was fun. And it's a shame that roller coaster never got to become an actual ride at Disneyland. I think it was because the film just didn't do too well that they decided not to do a ride. But I was looking forward to a ride doing that. So yeah, just gonna have a drink break. So we and my dad like Chicken Run as well. It's as you'll know, it's the Aardman's very first feature film, and one that DreamWorks didn't interfere with too much. The most they did was help distribute it. Otherwise, they left them to it. We really enjoyed that film just because of the fact that we were able to quote. That it's a very quotable film, as my friend Clamp Soka would say. It's one of the most quotable films you can think of. And we also quite liked some Middle Earth stuff, so Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit films. In fact, we went to see the second Hobbit film, and my sister was not prepared for the spider scene, and we saw it in 3D. So, yeah, she was not really that keen on spiders. And we'd also be fond of ABBA and Queen. Personally, out of those two, I prefer Queen more than ABBA, but that's just me. So, yeah. So that's pretty much what I can think of when it comes to talking about my sister, what she liked, what she didn't like, and other stories I could tell. As if there was a time where we were going to we were in a castle thing, the lights turned dark, I wasn't paying attention to anything, and I randomly shouted, "Has anyone seen my sister?" which made everyone laugh. It's not my most proudest moment, and I do get annoyed when people bring it up, but you know, it's something to laugh at. You know, because if you can't make fun of yourself and you can't laugh at the things you've done, then you know, what's the point in life? Anyway, excuse me. So I think in terms of things that I find relatable, and I'm hoping I'll be able to find YouTube clips from YouTube for of these particular scenes. But if not, then you'll just have to make do with me describing them to you. Some of the most relatable things that I've seen are the scene in Deadpool and Wolverine where the like a prayer song comes from my previous video about my sister with the photo gallery at the end. The scene in question is, of course, the bit where Deadpool and Wolverine are sacrificing themselves to save their Earth from destruction. And it was during that moment where I was kind of thinking, if I was in that situation, it would probably be me remembering stuff about my sister and feeling guilty for not necessarily the things I did to her, because we have forgiven each other since, but you know, just feeling guilty for the fact that I was never always there for her when she needed me most. You know,
The Wolverine. He's a hero in my world.
Whoever you think I am, you got the wrong guy.
You were always the wrong guy. Till you weren't.
Wade, you can finally matter.
Vanessa. I want to see Vanessa.
For the first time in my life, I am proud to wear this suit. It means I'm an X-Man. I am the X-Man.
Something I do have regrets on, but when in my adult life, when I was there, I did help where I can. Like I always, most weekends, I'd always take her home when she was ready to go home from seeing our parents. If it was at night time, I'd make sure she'd get home. I'd actually walk her home, because as any vulnerable person would know, it's being outside late at night is not a nice place to be out late at night, especially in the area we live in, where it can get quite rough. So yeah, so I did help her with that, as well as some other things I can think of as well, and also remembering the good stuff, you know, for that particular scene. A scene in the Lego Movie or pretty much in all the Lego movies, thinking about it, where the hero sort of talks to the bad guy, saying basically what Emmett said in the first Lego movie, where he's saying to Lord Business that he doesn't have to be the bad guy, he can make a difference just by this one change. And that's something both of us always strive to do, just telling people that they don't have to do what they're doing to try, and that if we don't honestly agree with what they're doing, they don't have to do what they're doing. It's just trying to convince them that that what they're doing is wrong, but they do have the power to change their ways if they so choose.
You don't have to be the bad guy.
You are the most talented, most interesting, and most extraordinary person in the universe. And you are capable of amazing things because you are the special. And so am I. And so is everyone. The prophecy is made up, but it's also true. It's about all of us. Right now, it's about you. And you still can change everything.
Not forcing them or anything, just knowing that they do have a choice, if that's the case. Another thing about helping people reminds me of this scene from Batman: The Killing Joke, in which and I did a short of this very scene some time ago, in which Batman and the Joker, it's kind of coming towards the end of the film, and they're both sort of trying to understand each other, and it's at this point where Batman sort of drops the whole tough act and basically says to him that he doesn't want to fight him because fighting him is just going to lead to the same old thing, and it will get to that point where they will have to kill each other one day, but he honestly wants to help him. And the Joker respectfully refuses, saying it's far too late for that, and they share one final joke together. And although that scene is kind of like a sort of an ending for Kevin Conroy's Batman and Mark Hamill's Joker, it was a nice scene to see, because it's one of those times where we do honestly want to try and help people, but we know that sometimes help will be refused because it's just way too late for help.
Well, what are you waiting for? Kick the hell out of me and get your standing ovation. Come on!
No, not this time. I don't want to hurt you. I don't want either of us to end up killing the other. But we're running out of alternatives. Perhaps it all hinges on tonight. I don't know what it was that bent your life out of shape, but maybe I've been there too. Maybe we could work together. I could rehabilitate you. You don't need to be alone. We don't have to kill each other. Let me help you.
I'm sorry, but no. No. It's far too late for that.
So yeah, and another Batman scene, this time from the Justice League animated series, where he goes visiting his grave, kind of reminds me of some things that I would say to my sister and anyone that I've kind of lost in my life, just going to their graves or going to their ashes or whatever, just saying some things that I thought that I should have said when they were around but never had the chance.
I've got some things to say. I should have said them when you were here, but despite our differences, I have nothing but respect for you. I hope you know that. You showed me that justice doesn't always have to come from the darkness. I'll miss... What did you always call it, Clark? The never-ending battle?
So, yeah. There's also a scene from a lesser-known film called Memoirs of a Snail, which I saw recently with Hank Zoka and pals. Quite an emotional film and had a lot of very relatable moments, but the one thing that related to me most was this one scene, and this is a spoiler scene, I should say before I carry on, in which the main character, who's been narrating the film up to this point, finally finds out the fate of her brother, and it turns out her brother died in a fire accident. And this was relatable to me because at that time I had already lost my sibling, which was my sister. And of course he did come back to life, but it was one of those times where he did sort of sacrifice himself and went out in style. And at the time I didn't think about the whole going out in style thing, but then I did, because when my sister died, she went out in style because there was so many different emergency vehicles that were coming in to get her out, and it was basically trying to prove the point that the car park that was near her place that she was in is a very small car park. It's not a huge car park. I've struggled getting in there, even with a small car I've got. My parents have struggled to get into that car park, and lots of people that use that car park just struggle. And I even remember a time where it was pitch black and I just collided with this other car by accident. Turns out the car in question didn't have any insurance or whatever. So yeah, and I can talk about a lot of other stories, a lot of other relatable moments and everything, but I'd be here all day, and I don't want to waste too much time just talking about her or anything. But anyway, the point I'm trying to make is my sister is my sister. She's Elspeth Claire Jones, Empress of Sarcasm, a voice for people with autism, autistic people across Cambridgeshire, which is the part of the UK that we live in. Not going to reveal my actual name or address, or whatever, because of data protection reasons. She would have been a great Oliver McGowan trainer had she stayed alive, because I think she would have done really well with that. But nevertheless, I still do my best training people, doing stuff that she would do would just bring energy, some humour into the mix, because doing public speaking, going into meetings and so forth, they are going to get quite tedious and can get quite boring and quite information heavy. So it's always good to sort of bring some energy and humour into the mix, because without it would be a very boring and dull meeting, to the point where some people may actually sleep it out. So yeah. She was also a lover of dogs, just because she went to a group that helped people learn how to treat dogs and everything. And yeah, I am going to miss her. I know a lot of us are going to miss her, but I'm going to miss her a lot as well. But I still have memories. I still talk about her fondly. My mum always described me as a great advocate for her, which I still continue to do for many years to come. And whatever happens in life, I know for sure that in the end, I should and hopefully will be reunited with her again. So yeah, it doesn't get any easier, I will admit, but I try. I really try to get by in life, without her. But the memories are there, the stuff is there, and I've even inherited a lot of her things as well, like her games, the TV, which you can see behind me, and some other stuff. Even this little book, which is basically a happiness journal. I'll read a little bit from that. So me, as in my name, won't say much, but he always has my back as I his. Smarty will deliberately seek me out to lie on my bed. He yells, says when I see Perkin. Doggies come up to me if on their own within, and that's basically just a page from her happiness journal. I don't know if you can see that very well. Yeah. So I've inherited that. I might be. Oh, something else just fell. I might be inheriting her dishwasher as well, because I don't really wash dishes all that well, so I might inherit that at some point. I've also got a washing machine, because my old washing machine broke down. I've got some of her soft toys, got a lot of her books, which are mostly annuals of the Dandy, the Beano, and some other books that she had as well. And yeah, I think about her every day. I think about about situations she's been in, and I do honestly think about the opinions that she would have shared on things if she had that opportunity to. And I am forever grateful for my friends and family who have really stepped up to sort of give me opportunities to see them, support me through all the pain and suffering that I've been through and everything. And I am forever grateful for it. It's never going to get any easier, but it certainly will get better to cope with as time goes on. And I'm hoping that whatever happens, that going forward, I don't go down the same way that she did. I know my parents went to see her consultant to try and understand stuff, and it turns out I'm not going to go down, hopefully not going to go down the same way that she went down. So yeah, but yeah, that's everything I've got to say. My mouth's about to dry up, so I'm going to wrap it up here. But yeah, that's what I've got to say about my sister for this year. I'm not expecting to get many comments from this other than just, comments that are saying, so I'm just trying to understand and being relatable and everything. It'd be good to have some comments to sort of to have a better understanding of how people feel and so forth, because I'm not the only one that's suffered with loss. A lot of us have dealt with loss in our lives. It's something we do have to go through, is dealing with a loss. And of all the losses that I've had in a family, this one hurts the most because every generation of my family up until her died hadn't been hit, and then when she died, it meant my generation was at risk, of the family was at risk as well. So yeah, it is what it is. But anyway, I'm gonna stop talking and just finish the video now. So thank you all so much for watching this very emotionally driven video. All these videos I do when I'm giving a tribute to my sister are just going to be very emotional for me and everything. So yeah, but anyway, thank you for watching. Please like, share with everybody, because everyone should know a story. Subscribe if you can. I do all sorts of videos on this channel, not just tributes to people that I've lost, but also other videos as well, like gameplay videos if you're into gaming, let's play videos if you like those, funny shorts, reviews, hauls, rants on life, and loads more. See you in the next one. Peace to you all, and remember to enjoy life, live it to the full. Go to your doctors if you think there's something wrong, to get it checked out as soon as you can. Although if it's like a common cold or whatever, then maybe just check with people that you trust first before doing that. Do treat doggos well, treat them with respect, train them well. Do not ever neglect them, because when they say they're for life, not just for Christmas, people do honestly mean what they say there. Screw you, AI. Hope you never dominate the world. Screw you, politicians who think you can change things or whatever, and just laugh at stuff, because it's not funny. It's very pathetic what you do, because if you're gonna threaten the world, actually go through the threats. Don't give us empty threats, whatever. and to all my family and friends that are watching this video, thank you for watching. This is just me sharing my own personal account on things. I look forward to seeing you all again soon, wherever and whenever that may be. And yeah, just enjoy life, live it to the full, live it to as if it's your last. Don't ever ignore someone's plea to go into hospital to get their health checked out, because for all you know, they may end up dying the next day. So don't do that. And yeah, that's all I've got to say. So I'll see you in the next one. Toodles.
It was Christmas Eve, babe, in the drunk tank. An old man said to me, won't see another one. And then he sang a song, the rare old mountain tune. I turned my face away and dreamed about you. Got on a lucky one, came in 18 to 1. I've got a feeling this year's for me and you. So happy Christmas, I love you, baby. I can see a better time when all our dreams come true.
They got cars big as bars, they got rivers of gold, but the windows right through you, it's no place for the old. When you first took my hand on a cold Christmas Eve, you promised me Broadway was waiting for me. You were handsome,
You were pretty Party queen of New York City. When the band finished playing, they held out for more. Sinatra was swinging, all the junk they were singing. We kissed on a corner, then danced through the night. The boys of the NYPD choir were singing Go Away Babe, and the bells were ringing out for Christmas Day. Lying there almost dead on a drip in that bed.
You scumbag, you maggot, you cheap lousy faggot. Happy Christmas, you're ours, I pray God it's our love.
The boys of the NYPD choir still singing Go Away Babe, and the bells are ringing out for Christmas Day. Could have been someone.
Well, so could anyone. You took my dreams from me when I first found you.
I kept them with me, babe. I put them with my own. Can't make it all alone. I built my dreams around you. The boys of the NYPD choir still singing and the bells are ringing out for Christmas Day.